Hello again viewers, my name's Alan and welcome back to my home workshop. In this video I want to talk about some things I did to a gate to stop an unwanted stray cat from coming through it. First up, we covered it with some plastic mesh. That was fine, except the cat could get under the gate. So then we put some bricks across the bottom and that seemed to do the trick, but it's not very convenient. Now I couldn't just put a board straight across the bottom of the gate because you see in the pictures, as the gate swings open it goes over the top of a concrete footing which would have fouled the board. So in this video I show how I made a wooden board which could be fitted to the bottom of the gate and operate or swing with the gate to keep the gap covered. And as I was doing this for my son, I wanted to do it as cheaply as I could for him, and so I tried to use scraps and offcuts wherever possible. Okay, so I want to make these into hinges. They're actually the hasp from a staple and hasp set. So I'm going to cut it off there, drill the extra holes in it. But just a little detail I noticed is that it's not actually flat across the back here. It is across there. If you look really closely, there's a gap here. And that's because it's intended to sit over the thickness of the plate that the staple's fixed to. So anyway, to make this into a useful hinge, I need to flatten that piece out there. So we just use the press to flatten that crease out. Press makes pretty short work of that. So now we can see that sits flat. It'll be more useful for me now as a hinge. Okay, well I could have cut these to length using a power tool of some sort, but I think sometimes it's just as easy to go old school and use a hacksaw. Perfectly acceptable result with virtually no setup time. A couple of more bits of scrap for the scrap box, but always try and deburr them before I put them in with the rest of it. And deburr the pieces that we want to use. I ran those corners off using the belt sander. And a quick deburr on those. That's good. I suppose I could try and match the corners, but I don't think it's really justified for the project. So, time to mark out the hole pattern under here for these second flaps, and it's a chance to use this nifty little bit of kit. Got a cone there which locates in the countersink, and then a punch that does the business automatically in the centre. So we'll use that. We'll push that down. One. Oh, and it won't reach in there for the. Thank you, Murphy. Oh, I got one. Have to do the others by eye. Obviously, they're not critical anyway. So now just got to get the countersinks on this side. I'll slow it down a bit. Yeah, something like that. Alright, I think that's one done. Rinse and repeat, as they say. Right, now it's got my 2 hinges made. On to the next bit. Okay, so for this to work, I've got to chop this piece to length at that line, cut it here, and that's where the hinges are going to go. Okay, we'll go and mount those hinges now. Okay, so those hinges are going to go there to operate the flap, but I want this flap to be spring loaded so that the board tries to stay straight, and when this thing comes up or bends this way, there'll be a spring to hold it down. And I think what I might use is repurpose this old rat trap. I think that's got an appropriate spring. Let's see if we can make that happen. Alright, using a bit of rule plug or wall plug on the drill to keep the depth correct. Pop that off. The driver chuck on, and off we go. Just screw in that hole. Slow the drill down first. Right. Right. Let's make sure the trap fits before we go any further. Yeah, still room for that, so that's good. Looks like the only screw I've got left has got a slot drive, so we'll have to use that. That's better. Alright, it's actually going to go this way around. So now, to modify this, so this spring will keep this down. Alright, so I decided just to cut this piece off, and this piece off with a hacksaw, and start there. the light on the right side of my line, make it easier for me to see. Alright, so I think that should work. Screw this plate to this side. That's going to put a modest but worthwhile clamping force to keep that down, which is what I'm looking for. So I think I'll just screw that on there. And we're about done actually. Yeah, I think that's going to work out just fine. Take this off again so I can trim those to length. Oh, I don't know whether it's even worth bothering. Yeah, I suppose it is. No, I suppose it is. Right, so now we'll assemble the flap back on. They're all good. And there we have it. As the gate opens and swings around, more and more of the concrete footing comes under the gate. So it's going to go like that as the gate comes around. So I'll take some pictures of it installed to make it clear, but I think that's going to do the job just nicely. The project really appeals to me because it's making something from nothing. A piece of scrap wood, a couple of hasps from long forgotten hasp and staple sets where the staple was used for something else, made into hinges, a rat trap which the rats kept turning their nose at, so I gave up with getting it to use it, but it's perfect for this. Okay, well, time to see if it works. So before going to the trouble of permanent mounting hardware, I've just clamped it to the bottom of the gate. Excuse me. Let me give it a quick try and see if it actually does the job properly. And if it does, I'll make some bent metal saddles to fasten it to the bottom of the gate. And it will need to be painted because the wooden material is a sort of a chipboard. It has some sort of weather protection, but it needs to be painted to have any durability. But I think my lad can do that, and that can be his contribution. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe it's given you an idea for a problem you might have to solve.